welcome to day 7. In today's session, we're going to put together everything that we've learned so far. So we're going to start in standing. We're going to do a bit of a warm up in standing. We're going to do some balance work and then we'll come down onto the mat. So I want you to have your feet out about shoulder width. And again, we're going to start with the shoulder blades down, chest lifted, holding that body nice and tall. And then again, moving through the hips and pelvis, we're going to sit back with a small squat to start with. Now, as you sit back, keep the eyes looking forwards and the chest up. And then we're going to circle the shoulders, lift the heels slightly, and then slowly back down. Good. And again, let's come a little bit lower this time. And again, we're going to come up, circle through the shoulders, and again, lift the heels a little bit higher. We're going to take 4 of these in total. So again, coming back into our squat. And again, pushing up, circling through the shoulders. We come up a little higher, so we're pretty much on the toes. And then slowly down. Good, well done. Last one, pushing back. And again, coming up, circling through the shoulders, lifting the heels nice and high on those toes. And again, slowly down. Good, well done. Now from here, we're going to take the right arm and we're going to reach up and lengthen through the waist. So we're not trying to crunch through the left side, we're lengthening through the right side. So reach the hand up as if you were trying to touch the ceiling. And we do the same over to the left. And again, we come up, all the way over. And again, we come back, all the way over. Good, we're going to take one more to each side, reaching and lengthening through the side of the body. Good, last one. Good, well done. And then we're going to move into our balance. So feet close together under the hips. Now again, you're going to start wherever you left off yesterday. So if this is just with a balance on the big toes, then that's what you're going to do. Yeah, so just lifting the heel off. Good, bringing those arms forwards. Good. Now, if you're comfortable to, have a go at lifting the heel off the floor. Sorry, the foot off the floor. Now remember, we want to try and avoid leaning back, holding our balance for a little bit as we lift those knees up. Good, well done. Now let's take it over to the side. So right leg, left arm, take it out. Again, don't feel that you need to lift the foot off the floor if you're not ready for that. Just keep the foot on the floor. You're still going to be taking all your weight into that standing leg. Good, and then if you're ready, have a go at lifting the foot off the floor. Again, we're trying to avoid leaning, so the movement's coming from the hip and the shoulders. Nice and relaxed. Holding on to something if you feel that you need to. You don't have to match my pace. Good, well done. Good, and then rest it down. Just give the shoulders a little roll. Good, and then we're going to make our way down onto our mat. So come to the back of the mat, so you've got the length of the mat in front of you. And then I want you to sit your hips back. So just as we did with our squat, you're going to come down as if you're bringing your chest down over your thighs. And then you're just going to bring the hands onto the mat, roll the knees down. And we're going to come into our tabletop position. Now we're going to start with that cat stretch. So breathing in, and then as you breathe out, squeezing that tailbone under, chin into the chest. Breathing in to release into your cow stretch. Eyes looking forwards Again, breathing out. Again, building up that range of movement. Don't feel that you need to come deep into your cat-cow stretch to start with. You might want to work up to that. Good, well done. We're going to take one more. Good, well done. And then from here, we're just going to, for time, we're just going to loosen off a little into the right wrist. So just circle into the right wrist, give it a little stretch. And then we're going to move straight into our swimming. So if you remember, we have the option, just like we did with our balance, to keep the arm and the leg in contact with the floor. Now remember, we want to start with that little squeeze of the ribs to pelvis. So we've got that flat back. We take a breath in, and then as we breathe out, we slide the right arm, left leg into extension. So they're moving away from the body without reaching. So just lengthening from the shoulder and the hip. And again, we do the same to the other side. Now again here, if you wish to, you can start to lift them away from the floor. And again, it might be that the right level for you is just the shoulder or just the leg, or you might be ready to lift both. And then we come back down and back into the mat. Find that right level for you. It's really important. If we work at a level that's too challenging, this is one of the reasons why people tend to kind of give up, because they find it too difficult. It's better to, I think, make the exercise a little easier and enjoy it than take ourselves to a too high a level and not, because we've got time to progress. And I think that half the fun of it is the journey. You know, looking back over time to see where you started to then where you are and how you've progressed. So we're going to take one more, and then we're just going to sit back into our child's pose, loosen off into the wrists, give them a stretch, have a little breather here. I always think whenever you rest in Pilates, it's good to just do whatever feels instinctive in terms of a stretch. So it might be cat-cow, it might be child's pose, but do what works for you. Because, you know, although anatomically we all look similar in how we're built, some of these exercises can feel different for each of us depending on where we've got problem areas. So let's come down onto our front, and we're going to move into our back extension. So arms are going to be out, elbows in line with the shoulders, legs lengthened. And again, before we start, we're going to take a breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to squeeze the bum cheeks, push the pelvis down into the mat, and then we're going to lift the chest. And then we breathe in to lower and relax. And again, we breathe out to lift the chest, and we breathe in to lower and relax. Now remember here, as we're moving through our back extension, we want to keep the neck long. So try and avoid lifting the chin. Eyes remain looking down. And if you want to, here, your progression option, you can float the forearms off the floor. If you remember, we worked through this as an option. So a little lift and then lower. It doesn't have to be high. It's just a hover of the arms away from the floor, or a float. Just a small movement. Good, we're going to take one more. Good, and then from here, we're going to come up into a stretch. Now again, I want you to take whatever stretch feels instinctive for you. For me personally, it is cat stretch. But if you prefer to come back into child's pose, then please do that instead. So we're going to start with our shoulder bridge, heels close to the bottom, and a fist width gap between the feet, hands down by our side. Now again, we're going to take a breath in, and then on your out breath, You're going to squeeze your ribs to pelvis. The pelvis is tilting back, the tailbone comes underneath. We're going to push through the feet as we squeeze into the glutes, the muscles in your bottom, and we're going to peel our spine off the mat. So we come up to rest on the shoulders. We take a breath in, and then as we breathe out, we roll all the way down. So remember that image in your mind of your vertebra being like a string of pearls. So as we roll up and down here, each vertebra of the spine kind of lifts away from the mat, independent of the rest, rolls back down. So we really massage the spine. And again, going back to what I was saying about adult movement patterns, because we spend, sadly, too much time in seated, we do compress the spine, or even too much time in any position, too much time standing, we compress the spine. So again, this is just releasing, lengthening through the spine, releasing that compression. Now remember, we've got our progression option here, which I offered you midweek. So this is where we add in the arms. We roll all the way up, and then as we reach our bridge, we bring the arms up overhead, we lay them on the floor, and then we roll all the way down. And then once you reach the mat, we bring the arms back down. And again, we roll all the way up. And again, we bring the arms up, lay them on the floor overhead, and roll all the way down. Good, well done. And again, take any stretch that you feel is good for you. It might be to rock the knees from side to side. Bring the knees up here in tabletop. Good, well done. And then from here, we're going to bring those legs back into tabletop. Now again, from here, we're going to good, and from here, we're going to bring the legs back up into tabletop. We're going to keep the ribs and pelvis connected. We're going to take a breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to hinge forwards with the right foot. Tap the toes to the floor. Breathe in to lift. Breathing out as we hinge forwards with the left. Now, just to remind you here, if this feels too much on the lower back, you can have the feet down and you can lift one leg at a time up into tabletop. The other option is if you want to have the legs up here, but it's just too much on the lower back to tap all the way to the floor, it's just to hinge forwards about halfway. So again, breathing out as you hinge forwards, breathing in as you bring that knee back. And again, adding that progression option here. So from here, we can hinge forwards, tap that foot further forwards. This is going to make it a little bit more challenging. As I said before, this is what we call lengthening the lever. Yeah, so our legs, which are super heavy, adding more resistance. Again, keeping that rib to pelvis connection. Good, well done. One more to each side. Good, well done. And then just allowing those knees to come in towards the chest and having that little rock of the knees from side to side. Good, and again, if you prefer, you can bring your feet down and rock the knees from side to side here. Again, just easing off any tension in that back. Good, well done. And then from here, you're going to make your way all the way over into seated. And give yourself a big round of applause because we've made our way through in that little sequence there, a whole set of Pilates exercises. I really hope you enjoyed the last 7 days and you found the right level for you. I do hope to see you again in another challenge. Take care.